Few days ago, I was talking with someone concerning buying used engine when your current engine has failed. So as we were discussing, so I started telling the person it's high time Nigerians started to change their mindset when it comes to engine replacement. It wasn't the I could say it wasn't the norm, but also there was a time it was the idea of replacing injury wasn't even in the picture at all. I'm talking of the days of the 504, 505, 404, and the rest. Nobody ever even thought about replacing engine at that time. All we were doing that time, talking about the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, at least early 90s. In fact, just the early 90s, yeah, you could say early 90s, or just the 90s, you know. I think it was towards the late 90s that when the other brands started coming in, then it's now changed. So at that time, everybody was basically rebuilding their engines. So nobody talked about engine replacement. So I was kind of giving the advice to the person that personally that's will always be my first option. Um, you know. So what was it? Was it yesterday? Yeah, I think it was yesterday, and the topic came up again. So I also started giving the person, this second person, same advice. Why I personally always prefer engine rebuild, and you know, because in fact I now started giving the person the reason why I think Nigerians should start, especially the Peugeot users, uh, um, should start to uh, you know change. That is a mindset thing. So change that and start to think towards rebuilding engine, because um, I think in the past it was much cheaper to rebuild, and still is, for the SN engines in the 504, 505, um, and even other brands. Yeah, it's not just Peugeot, because like I say, it wasn't like only Peugeot that were using that time in Nigeria. So it was basically much Peugeot. The parts are easily available, um, you know. So at that time, where we even see the, new another engine to buy, unless you're buying new. I mean, who is even buying new at that time? So I was giving the person, but I think at some point, maybe towards the late 90s or early 2000, the used engines started coming in and becoming cheaper option. So people don't bother anymore with the rebuild, and most especially the engine produced at that time wasn't that, how would I put it? Rebuilding it will not. I don't know if I would say it would be it was more expensive. I could say you could use that word, but the point is, you may not be able to get it um much easily, like to work like new, like if you have to rebuild the older engines, like the 504 and 505, because those ones you can actually replace everything on the engine to brand new, unlike the modern ones, the ones from those days, late 90s or so, that started becoming little more big complex, but has its own advantage as well, you know. So I don't know. I think it just, like I say, it kind of became a cheaper option to replace the engine than rebuild. I think that's just the main reason, you know. So people just gave up on that, and the mindset just changed among Nigerians. Nobody talk about rebuilding engine anymore. So now, once there's any engine uh, sign of weakness, not even talking about total failure. Once there's show any sign of weakness is about replacement. Any sign, oil burn, oil reduction, whatever. Once it shows any sign, you change it. It's not like you're buying new engine, you buy another used engine, which we call tokumbo. That is falling used. The ones that were used outside Nigeria now removed and shipped to Nigeria, and then we buy as if we're buying new engines. So these are used engines, sometimes almost close to their lifespan as well. Or you will say lifespan because it's how you use engine will determine how long it will last. So some of them self are not even in the so-called good condition per se. It's just that they are just better than the one you are replacing. So people, when they buy it, you made it look like, oh, they just bought a new a new engine. It's not a new engine, just a used better engine, or used engine in a better condition than the one you are replacing. Not all. Sometimes even when you buy, engine will even be dead. You have to return and they pick another one. So I think became much cheaper. Nigeria started dumping engines here, and which working for us. I'm not complaining anyway. But why I'm bringing this up, because I was telling the person that, see, all these engines you are seeing in the Peugeot cars produced in the 90s, late 90s, um, during the year of 2000, 2000 and 2010, even to 2015. But let me just leave it between 1995 to 2010. All the Peugeot engines all the Peugeot vehicles you see on the road with those years, their engines are already fading away. Some are still available. So like SU engines, they are basically going extinct in the market, used parts market. Yeah. So because SU engines were produced the 90s. So sometime in the 2000, and so they reduced the production, or the, you know, yeah, basically the production reduced it sometime before 2000. I don't know when they stopped completely using. I think in the Europe they stopped it maybe 2001 or maybe 2000 or so. They stopped using AC engines. I think it's only in Nigeria they probably continue that, using it for some time. So all those engines you see, I'm talking about is SU, EW, ES engines, TU engines. They're all going. If I'm talking about few more years. If I thought we reach that, you probably will no longer be able to find them in the market. So what happens then? Because it doesn't mean, I know majority will give up and switch to other brand once they can no longer be able to replace such engines. Because Nigerians, if not for anything, they are very good at killing engines. So, I mean, if they won't be able to buy these engines, can as well switch to something they can be able to get engines in replace as they kill them. So, what's going to happen then when that happens? Of course, not everybody will switch immediately. So one way or the other, they have to find a way to keep the engine running. So that's why I'm saying the mindset needs to shift. And apart from this, I think even the newer ones, you will eventually realize that engine replacement may not even be the option as it used to be back then during the time of 504. Why? Because currently the cost of replacing engine is becoming so high that it's even starts looking like rebuilding engine is like basically no longer that expensive option per se when you look at it. Like I said, in the days of 504, it was much cheaper to rebuild than replace, because replace was much higher. Then at some point, the replacing engine became cheaper, but not for the SN. The carburetor engine is 505. Talking about the 406 upward, and the rest. Replacing engine became cheaper because you know lots and lots of them coming in very cheap. So it was, I think that time you can replace your engine even less than 100,000 naira. So why bother rebuilding? So now, I mean, it's almost like 500,000 naira to buy another EW engine. You are looking at close to 500,000 naira. So give it, who knows, a year or two, you are probably be looking at 1,000,000 naira. So in that case, come on, you see what the time here, you have to, everybody will keep watching to change their engines. So you have to start looking for the other option, which is, in that case, might not be as expensive. Now, how do you make the engine not be replacing engine, the rebuilding of engine option not to be that expensive? Is by yourself trying to keep the engine to last as long as possible, to minimize wear and tear inside the engine. Let me just put it that way, not necessarily make it last longer, because not everybody will understand all that. But to minimize wear and tear in your engine is probably the cheapest way of rebuilding, using and rebuilding same engine. If you follow the instruction by the manufacturer, Peugeot experts like us, who have gained quite a lot of experience when it comes to vehicle maintenance, usage, how, do's and don'ts that can actually affect, or you gain more from the usage of that vehicle, or wreck the vehicle. When you follow some of these instructions, you realize that even when it comes to rebuild, you will have very little things that will need to be replaced when engine starts showing sign of weakness, rather than when you go hard on engine destruction because of the way you use the vehicle, where vehicle maintenance culture, when you how bad you maintain the vehicle. In that case, when it now goes to the point of rebuilding the engine, since buying another one may not even be available, or the cost may be so high that it may not make any sort of sense to even go that route. In that case, you realize that, I mean, you are now looking at total overhaul of the engine, not just one or two things to be replaced. You remember back in the days, the 504s, you'll be surprised that the crankshaft of the modern engine, they tend to last longer. They hardly have issues. The camshaft, the crankshaft, the camshaft, they tend to have less issues compared to those of the 504, the 505 those days. Now, I'm not saying, let me be clear, I'm not saying the one of the 504 was produced with less quality than the modern ones. No, I think what was killing them at that time was, it's possible, because I know let me put it in a different way so people won't get confused what I'm saying. The crankshaft produced, that were used in producing the foreign assembled ones, talking about the ones from Europe and the rest, they are much stronger than the ones that were used in assembled Nigeria, the 504, 505 in Nigeria back then. Yeah, they were much stronger, more durable. They hardly wear. um, compared to the ones they were using in assembly cars in Nigeria, 504 and 505, same engine that time. But the ones that use the assembly, the same engine in foreign countries were much better, much durable. So that's what I'm saying. So, notwithstanding with even though the qualities of the engine components inside the engines were a little bit different in terms of the quality, um, both in foreign and Nigerian assembly. However, the quality of oil there were people who are using back then in Nigeria on these engines, and some of the abuses they were doing on these engines back then in the 504. Everybody was running basically without thermostats, using not following instruction when it comes to racing. Don't race your engine when it's cold. Um, all those things that increase rapid wear on the engines. Nigerians were not following all those recommendations and instructions regards to um, Peugeot maintenance then usage. So I think it was one of the causes of rapid wear on the crankshaft and the camshaft of 504s and the 505, 404s back then. Some people will wonder what am I talking about. It means you have zero knowledge on the 504 and 505 then. We are among the ones that used them back then, the 80s, 90s, and the rest. So yeah, I can tell you it was an issue to 504, 505 users back then. Almost every now and then their crankshaft they are failing, the camshaft, the same thing. In fact, to the point that the camshaft, if I remember, the camshaft of those SN engine, carburetor engine 504, 505, they are mounted inside the engine block, unlike the ones Peugeot engines from the late 90s or thereabouts. You find the camshaft on the cylinder head, not on the block. So because of that, those rapid wear of the camshaft, the camshaft eventually will affect this engine block, because remember they are inside the engine block. So when they wear out that rapidly, they will wear out the block as well. So you end up damaging the engine block. So you see those people that time, you have to change the block. And also that also affect what's it called? The crankshaft. There's a place they call, I'm trying to remember the name. This thing on the edge of the crankshaft, the side, the flyway side. Is it thrust washer? Thrust washer. I think that's the name. Thrust washer. All those things, because of the bad oil people are using for these engines, they wear out much faster. So, and once they wear out, they tend to wear out the block as well, because the crankshaft will now be hitting, because there's a clearance there, there's a gap there already, so it'll be going up and down, eating up the block, to eat up the thrust washer from there, start eating up the block, engine block. So all these things affect the engine block. So you could ask those people, those of us then who are using the 504, 505 that time, when you are rebuilding, you most time end up changing the engine block. But now with the way they did these modern ones, you hardly have those issues. People outside Nigeria that we are maintaining for following instructions, manufacturers with also have a good maintenance culture with their 504, 505. None of them have any of these issues. They may even be wondering what I'm talking about. They didn't probably even experience any of these, because we are using the right oil, have thermostat in their system, so, and they don't raise their cold engine. So every other thing that increase rapid wear of the engine. So the engine, their camshaft, their crankshaft, none of them had all these issues. Okay, so that's why I'm pointing it out. So, but for the manual ones, you realize you basically don't need to change your engine block. If you also follow manufacturer's instruction, because remember those SN engines in the 504 and the rest, they have piston liners or sleeves, which is independent of the blocks, engine block. However, the newer ones don't have those separate liners. So, in other words, they are more like part of the block. We call them cylinder walls. So it means if the rings wears out, the pistons are wearing out, and it may eventually affect the cylinder walls, eat it up. So it may be that bad. So the point that you may end up replacing your engine block. Now there could be other things people do. I know, technology, things. There could be way to remedy that situation when your cylinder wall have eaten deep. Some might increase the width, use a thicker ring, bigger rings, or I don't know. There are so many things, but what I'm saying is you can actually prevent that if you listen to what I'm going to say in this video. In other words, in that case, you'll be doing, you may not even call it rebuild. It could be just to change a part, not total rebuild. May just need to touch any other thing on the engine. If you listen to what I'm going to say, in that case, the idea of replacing your engine is no longer in the picture throughout the ownership of the vehicle. You can use the car for as long years, as many as you can. All you need to be doing is follow what I'm going to say. Now, when the engine starts to show sign of oil burn, you don't know what I mean by oil burn. You need to pay attention to how long it takes you to top up engine oil before you change the oil. Some don't. That's depending on how the duration of the oil change. I don't know. Probably yours might even be every 100 kilometers you'd have to top up oil. I don't know. So my point is, once you start noticing oil burn or oil shortage without any sign of oil leak on your engine, it could also be a leak on the engine. Yes, still be burning oil, but my point is, once your engine starts drinking oil or start burning oil, sometimes it may come up as a bluish smoke symptom. Sometimes you won't even see any smoke, but it actually started to burn oil. Sometimes you could also see the oil will be coming out and be spraying on the what's it called? It depends on the engine model. Sometimes, like the EW engine, you see oil spilling on top of throttle body, stuff like that. So what you could do before it gets that bad, once you notice oil shortage, what you could do, you don't need to change your engine. So all you need to do is two things. This is what I advise you to do. As long as every other part of your engine is intact, your bottom part of the engine is okay. That's your crankshaft, the journal, everything, the bearings are okay, the camshaft on top, the cylinder head, everything is okay. But this all depends on how you maintain or use your vehicle by following instructions. You don't run your engine cooling system without thermostat or mess up your fan. Just keep your cooling system, let its engine to run as hot as possible, at least to the optimal. Don't get it to go higher than that, but don't let your engine run cold or too long. It's very, very bad. That's where I'm coming from, because when you do that, it goes beyond the rings, the pistons. You are damaging your crankshaft, you are damaging your camshaft. In that case, in fact, your solution might be the only solution you might have is just to replace the engine. However, the people that listen, that following my instruction, my advice, my recommendation, however you want to see it, keep their cooling system as factory recommended. Don't abuse it. Let your engine run hot. Peugeot engines are meant to run very, very hot. Keep it hot. It will reduce wear inside your engine. It will reduce wear on your camshaft, reduce wear on your crankshaft. They stay intact. So that the only thing you might have to be dealing with thousands or hundreds of thousands of kilometer usage or years might be the rings and the, what is it called? Valve stem cell. Your valve stem cells. Your cells on your engine, the valves on your cylinder head, that's the intake, the exhaust valves. These are basically the only things you may have to be dealing with in future. As long as you maintain every other thing. Remember, let me put it a different way. For the 504s and 505, those of us who use them, we know. The SM, the SMC, the SM1, no, the SM1, we have XM1, SN1, then we have SM1A, you also have SM1A, SC engine and the rest. So those of us, we have that option to change our crankshaft, the camshaft, they're all available new. The crankshaft is available, new one in Nigeria. You might now question about the quality of the charge. That's irrelevant. At least, no matter how bad the new crankshaft is, you serve it for years or a while before you talk about failure. So new one is new one. So that's why those people, they can do whatever they want to do, and it takes few funds. They'll get another new engine without going to buy in the market to buy a new engine. Get my point? But you don't have that option. You don't have that option. So the best you can do is minimize wear and tear in the engine, so that what you will be replacing will be just few things when it comes to oil burn, so that if you use quality oil recommended, you don't mess up, the cooling system stays intact. Run as hot as possible, as hotter, because the most important thing in your cooling system is to get hot as fast as possible and stay high. I'm talking about as high as 80 to 90, 80 to 100 degrees Celsius. For people who don't know, your fan, sit down your fan, as well as the electric fan, even the non-electric fan, the viscous mechanical fan, like in the 505, so not all 505, like the 505 V6, 505, I think GTI has that same system as well. I can't remember. The 505 V6 has this fan. Their fan comes up around 90 degrees Celsius. For the ES, TU, ES engines, their fan come up around 98 degrees Celsius. Engine hot temperature. EW10A, the fan comes up around, the thermostat even opens around 105 degrees Celsius. The EW and the TU engine, their thermostat opens at 89 degrees. You see, I'm trying to tell you to know that Peugeot cars are meant to run very hot. I was reading one of the comments and someone was claiming that, it's wrong for Peugeot engines to run hot. If you want it to last long, it's supposed to run colder, because if you run hot, it's going to affect the what's it called, the oasis on the engine. That's an ignorant statement. These are the reasons why people should be very careful to who you listen to, because this is going to mislead a lot of people when they listen to that. Peugeot engines are meant to run very hot. The quality of the OIC is what will determine how good it will stay no matter how long your engine stays very hot. Doesn't go meant to make it fail. It's only when you use all these low quality engine oil seals, then they won't be able to withhold those pressure or those hot temperature for a long time. They will give up. So people should stop making all this wrong. I don't know. People use beer parlor. This thing, you just say something you don't even know. So Peugeot engines are meant to run hot. So if you go and mess up your engine cooling system, abuse it, remove your thermostat, run your fan, vehicle, do this, all those things, and your engine, it's no longer the pistons or the rings that you're going to be dealing with. You are now looking at your crankshaft, your camshaft, your engine block, your cylinder head. Because remember, the camshaft is also running on the cylinder head. So that part is running, can even wear out as well. Because oil is no longer getting there, doing its work when as fast as possible. So it's going to be rapid wear if you keep your coolant temperature so low for a very long time. And the worst thing is when it's that low and you're pushing it hard, meaning the lubrication, there won't be much lubrication on all those things. So it'll be rapid wear. So in that case, once your engine shows sign of weakness, it's not, trying to replace the rings is useless to me. I mean, even before then, say you can tell some engines, you can even hear the crankshaft, once you increase the RPM to up to 3,000 or so, you can hear the crankshaft even, showing as if you want to break. So in that case, what are you trying to do? The crankshaft is gone. So what are you rebuilding? What you could do now, you could probably consider buying another used crankshaft, but you now start spending more issues. So if you don't want to do that, all you need to do is keep every other thing there. Then eventually the rings are expected to wear out over time. But quality oil will keep it longer, will prevent that wear much longer. What you don't understand, oil helps, engine oil lubricates the rings as well as engine is running. So those are the things they say, use this oil. You don't know why they say that. You didn't produce it. You don't know better than they do. These are engineers that put their head in there, work a lot of tests in their laboratory, and they're telling you something, and you with zero knowledge on how to even produce a pin, you are the one saying what I don't even know. So people just kind of. So once you observe every other thing that will make your engine last longer, what you now do is, once you notice your oil has started burning, you catch it on time. Once you start showing that oil burn, what I recommend you do is work towards replacing your engine rings, your valve stem cells. It costs you very little amount of money to do this. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be that cheap, but I'm saying compared to replacing every other part of your engine, if you are replacing your engine, of course, you're saying direct gasket, of course, those ones are normal, they have to go. But I'm talking about the main two things that have to deal with that oil burn or engine, inside your engine, that people hardly touch. These are the things. Because the valve stem cell will lead to oil burn. The rings will also do the same. Of course, the other things that can do that, like what's it called? The PVC. Is it PVC or PCV? I've forgotten. Valve can also burn your oil. But those ones are on top of the engines. Those are things you don't need to open your engine. So I always recommend, even when you are, you can diagnose that one separately to know if that is the case. Most times, the best way of doing is to replace, depending on the model of your cylinder head cover. May end up, you need to replace the head cover completely. So but then if you don't have a new one, if you're buying a used cylinder head cover where that valve is inside, you probably might be buying one that also bad, putting back. So how it doesn't help. So most time it makes sense to buy a new one. But when I'm talking about inside the engine, what you need to do, these are the two things, the rings, this. You find out that it solved the problem. When you open it, you realize that you touch the cylinder walls, you see that they've not actually gone deep. What usually made them go that deep is once the rings wears off, the pistons start hitting the cylinder walls. It makes it worse. Or the rings, there's a crack or something, it just damages the cylinder wall. Now, like I said, there are other ways they can fix that cylinder wall that have that clearance. I don't know that one. I know technology exists, so there are so many ways of dealing with it. I say the cheaper way of doing your engine, you can use as many years you can, whatever. Once you can do these things, so I've noticed it, you realize that it costs you very little amount, engine will come back in very good shape. Now, there could be worst case scenario where maybe it has, you don't trust the pistons anymore. Maybe it has affected the pistons and the rest. Yeah, the pistons are also available. You could buy both the rings and, like for example, some like OEM usually comes with piston and rings. They don't sell only the rings. They are talking about OEM, comes together with the piston. Now, aftermarket, you can buy original aftermarket rings as well. When you're talking about OEM, they do come with the pistons. They at least for what I know, I don't, you know, I can't say for sure all the engines have their OEM rings are packaged. But I know like the SN, MSM engines, I'm talking about those engines in 504, carburetor engines. Yeah, they do come with um, the rings and pistons. Likewise, the EW engines, rings and pistons. So I was talking about OEM. So when you now talk about aftermarket, there are quality aftermarkets that are also the same quality of the rings, the OEM. So it's not up to you to find out which one is genuine. There are so many brands. I can't tell you because the thing is, if I say brand now, it will say if you once you see it, it means it's original. No, because there are most of the fake rings. They are not produced. Some of them are produced with the high quality brands, but actually, or they are packaged in high quality brand name, even though they are something else. So that's why they are fake. So because if you do your own product, even the quality is not up to those high quality known brands, but it's yours. So it's not fake, only that the quality is not as good as, it's not the high quality compared to the other ones that are known for high quality. But it's not fake. So, but now what you see in the market most times are fake because they are selling it as if they are those high quality ones, even though they are something different produced by, but they are not produced by that brand. So that's the point. So those are the things you have to look out for, you know. So you could decide to buy both the pistons and the rings if you want to, or you could deal with instead change the rings. Most times you won't really know until you remove the cylinder head. When you remove the cylinder head, you inspect that area. If you don't know, a mechanic can tell you, can do that for you. It's very easy for those of us who are technicians to tell the condition of your cylinder wall. You know. So, but my point, once you catch it on time, you realize that it will be much cheaper to just change those things, and your engine will serve you even better than those Tokumbo ones. The ones we call falling used. It will serve you much better and longer. As long as every other component in your engine is in good condition. By following these instructions, you know. So, of course, eventually, it does to me, if eventually has affected your crankshaft or your camshaft, you have a lot of things to change. But the only unfortunate thing there now is you won't be able to change, be able to get new ones for some of those parts. For example, you can look at the screen. All these things you see here are brand new. The cylinder head brand new, engine block brand new, camshaft brand new. You know, that's the thrust washer. This is the oil pump. They're all brand new. There's a shaft that controls the that runs the, what's it called, the pump. the oil pump and the distributor runs these two. So all these things are new, which for the 505 users, 504 users, they can be able to get this pass, new one. You see, as I get how this ways will make your engine almost like a new one. Because imagine new block, new this, new that. What else is in the engine? Likewise, what you're seeing on the screen, new valve, intake and exhaust valve, new camshaft bearings, crankshaft bearings, new timing chain, new timing chain tensioner. So all these things, like as I'm saying, if you now use this modern Peugeot cars and it gets to a point that it has gone the it has gone beyond the rings or pasting. Man, I don't know. The only way you could, unless you have to now start buying used crankshaft, camshaft, hopefully those ones will still be intact. The bearings will still be intact. You have to now sort, because to source the bearing, I don't even know whether they sell all this model like EW engine, whether the bearings, crankshaft bearings are in the market. So those are the things you have to. The con rods, don't know. You know. So those are for example, you can see this one, the con rod is available for new for the 504 engine, SM1 engine. So this other one is the oil pump. So I don't know what what I'm saying is the 504 users, they have the opportunity to rebuild old engine into a new engine, but you with a newer modern Peugeot car EW, you don't have that. Also, the best thing is try not to make your engine fail to the point that you have to start changing those things, because doing that means you have to source for used ones, which if you get a good used one, why not? It means the only new things there will now be the the rings and maybe the pistons. You can buy them, you know but at least the rings have to go. They say the valve stem cells also have to be new, and the rest. So for example, okay, because let's get practical. We are saying it will be sounding too abracadabra. Let's assume you are following all these instructions from the manufacturer and the advice have been given and the rest, and then you now notice truly your oil, the engine has started consuming oil, but it hasn't gone that bad. However, your engine sound is still good, the power is there, you're not feeling any sign of when you push your car high, the RPM high, the crankshaft doesn't make noise. If you're not sure, go and give your mechanic to know. If you push your engine high, if your crankshaft and your camshaft is bad, they will produce one kind of sound, horrible sound that your mechanic can be able to tell you, man, your crankshafts, they are gone or about to give up. So yeah, they can tell you. So let them listen, they will know. So if those ones are still okay, probably you have to deal with your sometimes, depending on how the wear, it depends on the sound. Then while changing your this, they may have to remove the con rod to check and inspect your crankshaft bearings, and the rest. Those bearings on the what's it called? The on the con rod. It's not. Is it pushing? Trying to remember what we call this thing, conrod, this thing, forgotten. Check your conrod as well to be sure that is it pushing. I'm trying to remember this name. I actually bought that component that inside the conrod that is holding the pistons. So if those ones are worn, of course your piston, those ones means your conrod will have to be replaced as well. That what's the name? Is it cone? Conrock cone or Conrock piston? Trying to those days I used to do 504 engine repairs. So all these things have to be checked. But like I said, it all depends on if the condition of your engine is intact, but you notice that the oil has all you need to do probably just that. You can remove everything, inspect, wash, and put back. But like I said, you realize that it's just this and that. Now depending on the engine, Now, for example, if it's ES engine, probably may, you go beyond just the rings. I'm talking about the V6 engine you find they produce in the late 80s to, no, late 90s to 2010 or so. So you have to go beyond that. Or even it what's this name? Is it not EW12J4? I think they have that set kind of setup. There's a part, the block is like divided into two or so. So you will need a high quality RTV gasket maker, silicon gasket maker. You need high quality one. Which in my case, may be better for you to import. As one I normally buy, is it Permatex? Forgotten the model. Just buy it, because if you use all these local ones they sell here that don't last, it means when you use it to assemble that bottom part of the engine block, the other side of it that is holding the, that is, they put um, with before the oil pan. I think engine has that thing. You do that, oil will start coming out from there. So you don't want, after rebuilding your engine, you start losing oil, or even worse than um, it was before you did that. But it's just that you won't be going through the combustion chamber. Instead, you'll be leaking from under constantly. So you need a good one, because they don't have gaskets anymore. They don't use gasket to assemble those engines. So you need high quality RTVs, silicon gasket maker. Those are talking about what they call locally here black gum. Need high quality one that when they use it, it stays like that for maybe hundreds of thousands of kilometers or years before need for before they start leaking oil. So you have to order it if that's the case. That's depending on the engine model. You could also do it even if you don't, because no matter what, you need it on the oil pan, irrespective of the engine model. But I'm saying you can easily remove the oil pan while you are using the car later in future. Unlike the other one that you just have to drop the engine, separate, remove the crank. Do you? I think no, I don't think. Do you need to remove your crankshaft? All these things. So you don't need to go that far. So it's better you secure that one first. So even if you don't have enough for the oil pan, the cylinder head cover, and all those things, or that box, like the ES engine, the cylinder, the camshaft box, if you don't have that, have enough for them, you can always do them later. But I strongly recommend you buy enough to cover all those spaces, so that you remove your camshaft, you're putting back everything is intact. So, but you see, the point is, what I'm trying to make here is, if you do this, as I just said, it's still cheaper and better than replacing your engine. Cheaper, better than engine replacement, as long as it's not a brand new engine. This is my point. How long will it serve before maybe you start burning again? Depending on the quality of rings you use. Depending on how you use the engine, whether you use the one with abused engine cooling system, whether you use bad or engine oil, whether you raise your engine when it's cold, all these things, and some other things like if your car is having excessive fueling, it has an injection issue, and you are running it like that, or you've tampered your fuel delivery to the point that or maybe there's a fault, lean mixture, and your engine is sending less fuel than it should, which will mess up the combustion and affect the pistons and rings and make them fail sooner than you expect. All those things. Or maybe excessive fuel means fuel will be going down, passing through the rings and going into the cylinder, into the oil pan, running, and then that one is very dangerous, because it also will dilute your engine oil, affect your crankshaft, bearings, the camshaft, and the rest, even the rings as well. So that's what I say. As long as all those systems are intact, of course, if they come up, you fix them. It may take you years if you still have the vehicle before the need for engine rings replacement will come up, if at all, will come up again. I'm saying it because let's assume we are not the first person that used that engine. Maybe you use the car or you bought the engine and you now notice after a while notice started burning oil. And you're not the first. Yeah, so you're not the first user, even though you tried all your best not to abuse the engine, but eventually it started. It means probably the harm was already done before you purchased it. So it's just that it took a while for it to manifest. You know, eventually, everything must wear out, no matter how, even humans, no matter what you do. So, or maybe you just die naturally, or so. You change it. So that's my point. It's much cheaper than buying a used engine. It's cheaper and better. You see, you make the cylinder tight and everything. So, um, what I'm telling you is what I would do in my own. In fact, I've always started to put it in um what's it called? Now, for example, I ordered the valve stem seals for ES 9J4S and the ES 9A engines, valve stem seals, original one from outside, from UK to specific. But I'm sorry, I actually initially I wanted to sell it, but I changed my mind. I'm not selling it anymore, so I'm keeping it. You know, um, probably next thing project maybe sometime this year. I'll likely buy. I tend to order the rings for ES 9J4S and the ES 9A rings, just a set, and keep. I might even decide to go both the rings and pistons, brand new ones, order the original ones and keep. I don't know in future which of the engines which of my, since I have three of them, you know, but one of them could decide to start burning oil more than it should. I just deal with it that once I catch it on time, I deal with it that time so I won't go start, it won't affect the cylinder wall. And that is it. So I would rather do it than replace the engine. That's my point. I will have more confidence doing it. At least I know before then I will get high quality RTV silicon gasket maker, and open up the engine, do all this thing, put it back. That would be same engine, nothing. See that the only thing replace basically will be rings. If I open it up and realize the pieces are still intact, I will keep the pin. I will use the brand new pieces. I'll change only the rings. If I think that the rings have been affected, uh, I'll do that. Even if I realize that the cylinder was maybe I've eaten up just a little, I'll still use the cylinder, the block, put it. Sorry, that's what I'm saying. Sorry, it hasn't got to the point that I'll start the car. Immediately I touch the throttle pedal, smoke is coming out. I don't know. I won't let it get to that point. Because once you get to that point, it's most likely it has gone beyond the pistons, the rings, you know. So that case. So I personally I know I will not, in fact I probably might even funny enough the oil pumps. I don't know about the ES engine, but I know for EW engines their oil pumps are available new. So you can also decide to change the oil pump, buy a new one and put. If the old one is still intact, there probably might not be need for that. It all depends. Normally, if you are overhauling the engine, let's assume you are changing your camshaft, changing so many things. No, come on, you have to change the oil pump. Not just the oil pump, so many things. If you are doing total overhaul, there's so many things that has to go because it might not work well with the new engine, with the other new components. You might, after doing that, if you don't change the pump, you start getting oil pressure issue. So better you have it done. Once you start going beyond these rings, pasting, no, I recommend changing the pump. If you have the money, even when you're changing, you can always change the pump. But I'm just saying, if depending on how far, but like I said, it's always better. I mean, when you are building your engine, you always have the opportunity. You see yourself always wanting new things to go with the rebuild. For example, you might have the opportunity to get a new starter, like you can see, new clutch kit, new starter motor, new alternator. So many things. I know other things is more like cost that probably is not part of actual engine rebuild, but then Remember, you are trying to make the engine run better than it was. So you end up being much better than those used Tokumbo ones. That's my point. So at the end of the day, what do you have? Depending on how well you want to do the rebuild. But like I said, those of us that use 505, what you now realize, you end up having a new engine. That's the truth. Depending on how far you're willing to go, because everything is better seeing new. Alternator, water pump, this, that, carburetor, uh, timing chain cover, timing chain, cylinder head, crankshaft, camshaft. Basically, that's what I'm saying. You probably will not understand when you it's only people, of course, that use those other car will know that. I mean, if you drive a 504 of this thing, it's as if you are you are blessed, because you can. It's as if you can always keep using brand new engine on that car. However, of course, there could still be one or two used components or second-hand component on the engine, but the main part of the engine, the what matters on the engine that produce power that made all those things will basically be brand new. The quality might be not as good as the OEM or those original ones, but then if it serve you for 5 years, 5 years without any issue, or more than 5 years, because they start wearing out. Me, they sound, remember, these are no longer, these are classic cars, at least, of course, I won't call all classic, some are not in that class anyway. I'm saying these are all cars here. Now all you're doing is to keep them running as much as you can in good condition. So most times the quality, because you don't have much choice in terms of is availability. It's what you can find. Luckily for us, their new parts are available. In my case, when I did this thing SM1 engine, I ended up getting the original ones, which may not easily be available now. Like the engine block, I bought OEM new one, but I later found that they are no longer available according to my contacts from where I got them. So it could still be one or there, but it might not be easily available anymore. But used ones are still there. So all you need to do your best. Use the right engine oil to prevent your block anything from failing. Those of us that also still have the new one, like the ES engine too, that don't have access to new parts like I have also for the older engine in 504. All you need to do also, don't let those parts that I have access for in the 505 engine, don't let them fail in your modern ones. So I won't have to replace your crankshaft, your camshaft, your engine block. Use your good oil. All good oil will prevent all those things from failing. Change them when they are due. If you don't trust reduce the oil recommended interval. There was a time I wasn't even giving anybody advice when it comes to oil change interval, because like, I'm not you, you are not me. I know how I use my cars. So best sometimes I just tell people, you know what? Maximum 6 months. Some people, I don't know. Some things you apply logic. But okay, if you're asking for advice, this is project advice, this is my own advice. So I won't come tomorrow and say, oh, I gave you wrong advice. You follow it and your engine knocked or engine failed because you are following my advice to change oil every 12 months or so. I don't know how you use your engine. I don't know how you race with your engine. I don't know how your engine cooling system is. I don't know how dirty your environment you drive the car is. So all these things, you know what? Minimum, maximum, I do 6 months. Change your oil every 6 months. Or maybe, I don't know the mileage you drive within 6 months. Maybe you drive more than 10,000 kilometers in 6 months. Maybe you could reduce it to 3,000 kilometers per every distance. I mean, it won't kill your engine if you change your oil every 1,000 kilometers. I don't know if there's any theory uh, that can prove me wrong on that. I don't know. So maybe it's not good for your engine every 1,000 kilometers, every 1 month to change your oil. But so far, I've not seen anything that contradicts this position. So you might be changing every month if you can. I mean, it's all about keeping your engine in good condition. So whatever that will keep it in good condition, you can afford to do, go ahead. So that is it. So do your best. So I know at the end of the day, in the next 5 years, 10 years, and depending on how long you want to keep that car or use the vehicle, you might end up, the only thing you might do will be, okay, oh, it started shorting out here. It's okay. You buy cylinder head gasket, buy valve stem cells, buy rings, and maybe you get a good RTV silicon gasket maker, that's the black gun. And then you open your engine, you do this, do that, put it back. That's the end. Engine will come back almost like in the same condition of so-called Tokumbo, or even better. Or maybe the pistons are what you decide to change the piston. That piston is usually that's if you don't let it get that worse, you don't need to change your pistons. Okay, so I know this video is long, but honestly, it's better Nigerians start to, reposition, change their mind towards that, because it's getting to that point. It's not just the EWES engine user. I'm not talking about even THP engine or EP6 engine users. If I have a THP engine, I wouldn't bother to replace it. As long as those other things inside are good, I will rebuild it. That's my point. Crankshafts, engine block, they are good. Cylinder head, what else? I rebuild it. Every other thing is available. Pistons are available. Converse available. The timing chains available. I mean, why would I replace the engine? I build it almost like a brand new engine. Rings. So that's what I'll do. Now the THP engines are basically almost ₦1,000,000. Are you telling me if I spend close to that ₦1,000,000 to rebuild it, if I won't even be that poor, let's assume it started shorting oil or this and that, or I would say, okay, the pistons may also have to go. But I looked at the cylinder wall, they are still intact. It will cost me, okay, maybe 500, 600. Even if it cost me up to that 1 million, it's much better than those used ones people are buying as Tokumbo. Because mine will be only like brand new. Because you are still buying used ones that with the old timing chain that probably need to be replaced already. Maybe the tensioner is not good, and the valve stem cells are definitely weak. You have to replace it. Replacing it means you have to remove the cylinder head, unless you have those tools that they can use to remove the valve stem cells without removing the cylinder head. So, I mean, that's the thing. That's my point. So, basically, I will just rebuild it. Because one thing about rebuild, you have the time. You have the time to 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 get that source, the sources you use to do all these things. You can be buying the parts gradually. Let's assume your engine started showing signs. Okay, fine. Maybe in the next 3 months, I'll be able to get some funds to buy some of these parts gradually before I go into it. The point. I'm just giving you the best advice. I'm not saying don't change your engine. No. That's not it. But I'm saying I'll tell you my own option, which eventually you have no other choice than to do that unless you don't want to use that. Because you get to that point. People that use Peugeot car with SU engine will tell you how difficult it is now to get that engine following use. They're available, but not easily available. There was a time it was not even available at all in Abuja. So you start to get it, you have to do pre-order. So that's the thing. Probably you can only get it now in Lagos. Or maybe once in a while, so one person will bring it. You can imagine how much it will be. So anybody who is using the SU engine, better listen to what I'm saying. That your engine, be careful. If you wreck it, you might not be able to get another one. Unless you are ready to rebuild it, like I just said. So EW users, EW engine users, TU engine users, ES engine users, start warming up. It's going to get to your turn. You don't think oh, the engine is common in Nigeria. No, they are fading off. They've sold off almost all the Peugeot Citroen cars in Europe that use that engine. There are just very few now still in the market on the road of Europe, and probably these other Asian countries they ship them in. Just very few. So as they are scrapping them, do you think eventually do you think there's a place? Do you think they are producing those engines to keep shipping them as Tokumbo? They are fading off the same way the old 504 you can't get those engines anymore. So they are reducing. So you get the point, you go to market, you won't even find them anymore. The little ones you could see, the price will go extremely high because there are few. So the highest bidder takes the engine. So in that case, what's the only other alternative? Is to start rebuilding since the parts to rebuild them are available. It's just that it may not be new parts for all the parts there. You won't be able to get news. It will not be used. And then remember, the used ones now are not that easily available. So are you removing crankshaft from a Nigerian used engine that probably they use the bad engine oil to run the engine? So the crankshaft may not actually be in good condition as well. So the best thing is don't let yours fail. Keep using quality oil. I'm not saying there won't be friction. No matter what you do, there will be, especially when the engine is cold. But when you use you follow the recommendation with the engine cooling system, the wear will be just few seconds or very less compared to those ones that run very cold for a long time, or use thicker engine oil, not recommended, or use bad oil, or don't change the oil when it's due. The oil burns out and become watery and mess up the entire engine and the rest. So in that case, so do the best you can to reduce. That's my point when I started in the video. Reduce what you will change when you want to rebuild or replace what is burning oil in your engine, or reducing what is reducing your engine oil in your engine. So I will just be few things that you have to spend money on. Okay, imagine these things I talked about now. You realize that in Nigeria, if you want to do it on EW engine, most likely will not spend up to 100,000. Of course. I can't say for sure in terms of the rings. They have different quality brands in the market, so price differs. So I don't know. I can't say for sure which one is which. But I'm just saying on average, you're looking at close to that 100,000 you are going to spend. Well, I'm factoring in Rebel. I'm saying, like, if I'm going to do it on my own car, if I have an EW engine, that's basically what it might cost me. If I'm changing the rings, the set gasket, the valve stem cells, yeah, that's basically what it might cost me. But if you are giving me to do for you, then we have to factor labor in. And then maybe if there's a oil seal that is leaking, then you have to change it. You don't rebuild an engine or replace such a component, major component in the vehicle, and you leave. You're supposed to even change all the oil seals on the engine when you do this kind of work. Sometimes why I keep quiet is most of these seals in the market are even worse or not good quality. So I even wonder what is working and go and put something that will even work or start causing problem that was not there before. So unless maybe it's actually bad, then you can consider changing it. Or maybe the person can afford to buy the quality ones, even if you have to order it. Yeah, then it makes sense to change everything at once. But if it's not leaking at that time of the work is being done, and the person is not buying the original one, there's no point touching it. Trust me, you might end up creating problem that wasn't there before. Okay, so you go ahead and do total rebuild like you're seeing on the engine. It becomes a brand new engine. Like you're seeing, this is one of my engines. Complete engine I assembled. We bought all the parts together, original new ones. I became a new engine in the 505. So that's the point. You can do it, and it will be much better than replacing the engine. It depends on how much you are willing to spend. Or you can do it, you can use your engine. So I won't get to that point. It will just be few things will be changing whenever there is need to open up your engine because of your oil burn. Okay, I think this has gone long enough. No matter how long I explain these things, some people will still not not that they will choose not to understand. They will have reasons to object to what they even ask. You may not even enter their ear, because the mindset is already there that it's better to changing this. So there's no point. Let me keep working the go and price the EW10J4 engine. You understand? Price it in the market. Go and price the current price. Or even the ESV6 engine. Go and price it in the market. Use ones. You're talking at Tokumbo. Then maybe you come back and watch this video again. You understand? So I'm saying in the next 1 or 2 years, these engines will become probably ₦1 million. Then what I'm saying will make sense to you. So you start branding now how you can actually use yours without ever need to replace it and to serve you as long as possible. However long you want to hold on to that car before you switch, or maybe you want to keep it for good, it's up to you. I'm telling you, something was we were doing before and it was working. Nobody ever thought of changing engine. It wasn't a big issue to use a car in Nigeria then, that replacing. But now, every small thing, everybody replacing engine. So we may have to. I understand the technical know-how could also pose a problem, because back then mechanics they actually learned how to change this component, tear out, dismantle the engine, open it up, do everything, replace all those things, assemble them together, engine will work well. But now mechanics we have now are basically remove and put. They don't know how to actually rebuild an engine, even to change rings. Most of them don't know. That's because they were not taught. They didn't learn, because now everybody is doing remove and put, change. So if you're a technician, our advice you also start learning towards that. Trust me, you will make more money if you can learn how to change it, because it's getting to that point. They will still come back. I say these engines are fading away, and these cars are still everywhere in Nigeria. So they will have no other option than to go that route. That's what I'll do. If I have my vehicle, yeah, I will rebuild. Unless the only reason why you shouldn't rebuild the engine, well, if there's a total catastrophe, there's a engine knock and destroy, I don't know if you understand, you exploded, everything scatter inside the engine. No, come on, no need. Look for another engine. So, but why let it happen? Prevent it. Change your timing when it's required. Do this, do that. Okay, so I think this is okay for now.